Again, because you project more in a higher range, which carries further.
Yeah.
We say that every week.
Yep. And now we've said it again, and the people who didn't watch last week will know. They should also know who we are. Hi, I'm Ben. I'm your host.
I'm Scott Kaiser, the co-host, not the co-host.
I'm Kieran. I'm here.
This is Anime FMK. If you couldn't tell by the big logo down there, we watch 10 anime every week, except this week we watched almost 20 because we're still catching up to be current.
Are we current now?
I think there might be like one thing that'll have 2 episodes for next week, but everything else we should be current with. I don't know. I could be wrong. I'll double check when we get off of this.
Hydrate Bot says drink.
I've been drinking.
Yeah.
Thanks, Hydrate Bot. You're a good bot. Hydrate Bot can't tell us whether anime are any good, but we can tell you with cards, in card form. This means good.
And this means bad.
Yep.
It's bad. You want to knife it.
And if something gets 2 or more knives, it might get cut off the list, meaning we don't have to watch it next week.
Is it going to happen today?
If it doesn't, then one of you did something very bad. At least one of you. Because you saw how free I was with the knives last week. Knife train ain't stopping.
Okay. All right.
So guys, let's jump right in because we got a lot to talk about today. Let's talk about, speaking of knife-worthy, let's talk about comic girls. In episode 3, Pink Moe Blob's editor isn't feeling her new manga, so everyone strips down to their underwear and argues about boob sizes for 20 minutes. You're all terrible people. And then in episode 4, Purple Moe Blob is sleep-deprived from working on hentai, which makes her extra lewd at school for some reason. Then the other Moe Blobs help her finish her manga, which they're all embarrassed about. Then there's an autograph signing, which makes Purple Moe Blob embarrassed. I'm not embarrassed, I'm just bored.
I don't appreciate this bad reflection of what the show is through this biased lens over here. It's not great, but it makes me laugh.
We agree on one thing.
It continues to be itself, and I think that's fine. How do you feel about it?
My friend Gavin referred to this as fucking a dead sloth.
Okay.
Because he said, hey, you ever have a friend who told you, hey man, you should fuck this dead sloth? And you were like, what? No, I'm not gonna fuck dead sloth. And your friend goes, no, you wanna fuck this dead sloth, okay? Listen, it's the best. And so you fuck the dead sloth, and you're like, God, that wasn't okay at all. But your friend's still on it. And you trust your friend, and you like your friend, so you keep fucking that dead sloth. And then after the 15th time you fuck that dead sloth, you're like, no, I like fucking the dead sloth. He was right. Fucking the dead sloth is nice. It's not nice. You're just fucking a dead sloth.
Have you ever considered that your friend who was standing on the other side of you, the shoulder angel, saying, Scott, don't fuck this dead sloth?
Yeah.
Maybe that was your real friend all along?
Yeah, I know. I mean, absolutely. I shouldn't be fucking this dead sloth, but the truth is I'm fucking this dead sloth. I'm fucking this dead sloth because part of it is still alive, and that part of it is making me laugh. Like, it's not, this is Moe trash, but there's some part of it.
I know,
like,
and I can't, like, if you gun to my head, I couldn't tell you what it is, but it makes me laugh. Sorry.
And again, I think the only thing that's kind of pulling this together is the fact that the main character, Kaus, is so bad at all of this.
Yes.
Not because she's bad at drawing necessarily, not because she's bad at writing necessarily, but because she's bad at being a person. Her biggest flaw is that she doesn't understand people. And
Yeah.
She's bad at being... Okay, now I get it. She's bad at being a person. That's why you two relate to her.
Yes.
Fuckers.
Absolutely.
actually, you know what? I feel very kink shamed over here. Only comedy shamed. Is that? How do you do that? I'm feeling shamed for my comedy. I don't know why. Like as you said, put a gun in my head. I wouldn't be able to tell you like 5 reasons why I love this show.
I couldn't even give you like any more than 3.
Yeah, but damn it, there's just something about it that keeps making me laugh. And maybe if the production values were worse. Maybe if it
because they're really good.
Yeah, visually it sells all of these jokes. Like I couldn't give much of half of a crap about the emotional like horror of episode 4.
Yeah.
Like, oh, she finds love in people loving the things that she does. I don't identify with that. Mm-hmm. Like, but that being said, like when the jokes come, the jokes hit for me. I should be grossed out by the fact that these girls are like 15 and 16 being stripped down to their underwear. That's something that offends me. It offends me on a personal level. And yet here it just comes off so corny and funny. I don't know how anyone's supposed to actually be sexually aroused by this.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, and that's maybe I'm sure there are some people that is what they like it for. It's not what I like it for. I just think it's really fun. I don't know. I can't tell you why. I can't tell you.
You guys keep talking about these jokes. What jokes? Jokes have a setup and a payoff.
That's
and a
so
structure.
wrong. No, they don't. They don't need that. They don't need anything. Jokes are just a construct.
Again, it's just the fact that they keep toying with all of these tropes. They keep like throwing them out there in absurd situations. And it's being sold so well visually for me that I'm like, yep, yeah, I know what that is. I know what that is. And I'm laughing and I find it funny. And I'm sorry.
I think it's because we've watched more anime bullshit.
Yeah, no, again, we fucked so many dead sloths, but at this point, we're dead sloth fucking
exactly.
experts.
Like all I've done is chug Everclear that I don't even taste any other flavor. But
Yep.
I'm laughing when it works.
Yep. Look, we're going to own up to it. We're trash for liking the show.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it?
I think so. I think if you don't take it that seriously, it's really fun.
I take seriously the fact that it is physically unpleasant for me to continue watching this garbage.
I don't know what to do because I can't. I want to spare you this pain. I do. There's almost
There's just not enough to do anything about it, apparently.
No, because
No.
I am enjoying the shit out of this. Out of every other thing, I'm not bored. This does something for me.
So bored.
And that's
And that's fair.
Yeah, that's okay.
I don't think you're wrong for feeling that way. I think you are completely valid in the way that you see this show. That's why I feel bad, but not bad enough to knife it.
I've said my piece. I've tried to make a reasoned argument based on what's good in this world and right.
But there's no reason. There's no logic here. It really isn't. It's something that's just it's faith. It's a faith-based show. I think it is really.
I mean, look, I can tell you, by episode 4, I'm already starting to feel it wear thin. You might be spared sooner or later, but not this day.
Yes, let's talk about Wotakoi, Love is Hard for Otaku.
Sure.
In this episode 3, Yaoi Girl and Monster Hunter go to a manga festival where Monster Hunter is mistaken for a yaoi fan. Then Monster Hunter invites Yaoi Girl to have a drink at his place. She assumes he's going to make a move on her, but he invites Orange Boy and Meganeko over to play Wii instead, and Yaoi Girl feels insulted. Later, they reminisce about being children together, and it comes out that Yaoi Girl doesn't remember the first time they met. Yaoi Girl feels bad and says that Monster Hunter should punch her. He kisses her instead. It's super awkward. Also, apparently Orange Boy and Meganeko have been low-key dating this whole time, making me wonder if I missed something in the first 2 episodes.
Yeah, they're constant fighting.
I mean, I remember that. I assumed that this was they hate each other, but they're eventually going to get together. I missed the whole, oh no, they're already together.
No, that was never explicitly stated.
Okay.
No, never explicitly. Oh, no. I just took it as like, I think they're dating.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure if this was when I was supposed to realize that, or if I was just an idiot who missed it entirely in the first 2 episodes.
This is just when it's much more obvious.
Yeah. And like for what it's worth, I think they have a fine dynamic. I've known couples like that where looking at it from the outside, it's like, how do you two do, but it seems to work. So I think it's fine. That's not a complaint. That's just a request for clarification.
A bunch of people in the chat are saying they outright said that they were dating in episode 2.
Okay, then I
then-
totally missed it then.
Yes.
Same. To whom?
I don't know. It's the chat.
Man, I guess I'll have to go back and rewatch episode 2.
I will take their word for it. 'Cause
Wait,
I got a lot of
same.
shit to watch.
Was it an after credits thing? Because this one had an after credits. Did anybody see that?
What was the after credits thing?
The after credits it's a really cute scene. Oh my god, I'm actually sad you missed it. So
I don't know that I did. I just watched this early on in the proceedings, so I might have just forgotten about it.
So Yaoi Girl. So it's Naru and Hiro. That's the 2 main characters. Naru and Hiro are I had to remember that. Are sitting at lunch at work, and he says, "By the way, so I know that you wanted a pink one. And
yes, I did see that.
and-
Okay.
Yeah, did you see it? Oh, yeah. And so she thinks,
Yeah.
oh, my God, he heard me. And she thinks he's about to pull out a pair of pink panties, and he pulls out a pink Wiimote.
Oh.
Yeah. No, yeah. That was a cute scene.
And then, it's really cute. He's like, oh, you thought of that. Yep. And you bought it. I bought it. That's good. I'll come over. Please do. And so, but then it switches to Tato. I think you call him Meganeko.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's just at his work, and then he, reaches down to his drawer to pull out something, and there's a big booby magazine in there.
Okay.
Mysterious porn stash.
And the best part is like, who put the stash in my desk? It's awesome. and then at the very bottom left, who put the big booby mag in Taro's desk? Find out next time. And I do.
So I feel like I was a little more on this show's wavelength at this point. Maybe just having aligned my expectations to what it's trying to deliver. Maybe also because this one leaned less on the humor, which it's not typically doing well for me. When it did do humor, like, oh my God, everybody thinks my boyfriend likes yaoi, what? Like, I thought that was a little better done because it arises from character, not just, hey, here's a reference to a thing you might have heard of.
I do love the fact that he's like, wow, he really likes touching my hands.
Yeah.
I love this character because I know guys like this guy. Usually I'm like, oh no, this is unrealistically dense or out there. Like, no, he's just super chill. He just doesn't give much of a fuck about except for the things that he likes, and it's so good. I love this guy.
I think he is a frustrating character for me, but not because he is unrealistic. Because he is unrealistic, and I find this kind of character oftentimes frustrating in real life, where he can seem like a fucking robot.
I think you mean he is realistic.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said he is unrealistic.
I don't know what I said.
It's okay. I just wanted to double check. Just wanted to make sure. But yeah, no, like on one hand, yeah, they can be really super frustrating to deal with. On the other hand, most of my interaction with them is more outside than like full on. So for me, it's just funny. I find him funny, and I like the fact that he kisses her. He takes the initiative, and he does say, "Well, I am still a dude." I like that.
Yeah. I mean, he is a frustrating character to have in the role of a romantic lead. Like, you talk about the title, Love is Hard for Otaku. Love is hard for him. He is the one who love is hard for. Like, she has some pretty, like, on the wavelength of the rest of human society expectations for what a relationship is, and he is not on that same wavelength.
Yeah.
And I think that is as of episode 3, that is the central conflict of this show, is them trying to get on the same wavelength.
Yeah. Then again, we haven't seen much of Hana and Tato's relationship, so I'm very curious to see how that goes. I also love the fact that, oh, wait. Actually, I think, yeah, no, I remember. Hiro actually tells Tato, like, that's your girlfriend out there, right? Yeah? Get her under control, man.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
he does say that, yeah. I guess that was mentioned in episode 2. Dang it. Man, I feel bad for missing that. But yeah, no. We don't know how a lot of their relationships will go because we only see kind of the two here. And Hana and Tato's has been more periphery for a purpose of building Hiro and Naru. Also, I love how you say, like, Naru is more on the same wavelength of everybody else. And I'm like, more? Yes. I still feel like she does not comprehend how to have an actual relationship. But she at least has ideas that she's picked up from the cult or media that she's consumed.
Well, she's had relationships before. She had a boyfriend in her previous job.
Oh, yeah, she did, though.
Yeah.
I guess she's not that far off.
Yeah, she's the one who's, up until recently, has been a closet otaku. She hasn't wanted people to know because it might weird them out.
And it did. That's
Yeah.
why her last boyfriend broke up with her, because she was into yaoi.
Yeah, but she, like, when I say on the same wavelength as the rest of humanity, she quite reasonably assumes, oh, I'm going over to his place. Am I prepared to fuck tonight? Because that is the default social assumption, is you're going over to be alone in his place with his bed. That's not to say that you can't change your mind or you can't say no and consent is consent and all that stuff. But the expectation is that he will attempt to escalate their physical relationship. And by accepting that invitation, she is on some level okay with that.
Yeah, although then again, we don't know exactly what he's after because when he invites her over, she cuts him off before he says, yeah, I'm having people over. Do you want to come over? No, she assumes that he's inviting me over to spend time with him alone. And as we see, the moment they get alone, he kisses her. He's still into it. It's just he's very, very subdued about it, and that's kind of the interesting part of him. So I don't know. I did find this whole episode to be top to bottom pretty good in terms of its consistency with its comedy and its romance for me. Although I won't lie to you, it is a little bit weird to me that they're like, hey, we want to find your stash, and he's like, go ahead and look.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one more, like, this dude's on the spectrum. That's just one more, he's kind of a robot about a lot of things.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing on his part. It's just the way he is, and people got to kind of learn how to deal with him. I don't know. What's you've been quiet, Kieran. You got
Can I hold a card up?
yeah. Go for it.
I don't have a lot to say about it. It's fine. I'm not compelled by the romance. I'm not interested in the humor. And I think it's already shown its hand in my mind. And that hand I don't think has anything much more dynamic to add to it. I foresee it'll just be more episodes of we do this nerdy thing together, awkward situation, but I still like you. And I don't know how much more I can take of that. If I were watching this on my own, I would have already been done by now. I kind of like what they were doing in the second episode, but this one, I don't know. Everybody comes over and plays games. They're playing games. Isn't that fun? And then it's just really kind of bland to me. I didn't really get a whole lot out of it.
I mean, they are obviously fake nerds because they play Mario Kart with motion controls in the wheel. So,
and who does
Yeah,
that?
no,
all of them are
bad
aliens.
people.
Yeah, they're all aliens. And if this guy was really serious, he would not be. He'd be using a GameCube controller.
it's true.
Yeah.
Scott.
I think it's funny, and I think it's endearing. I like these characters a lot. I think that's actually kind of the biggest selling point for me. I like Taro. I like Hana. I love Taro. I think Hiro is hilarious, and Naru has enough. I actually identify with her enough to be like, I don't know. I like this show. I think it's cute. I think it's fun, and I'm actually really kind of eager to see where they go with it. So,
I'm kind of in the middle. I mean, I gave this a knife last week. And as of last week, it just wasn't doing much for me at all. I think this third episode was the best one so far because the conflict came from the characters. It was a lot lighter on a reference a minute, quote unquote humor. Like what I would like from this show, and I really don't know whether it's going to deliver it or not. But like I say, that central conflict seems to be their expectations of what this relationship is, and him not seemingly kind of not knowing what he wants this relationship to be. And if that is the direction that they go, where it's more of an arc plot, more of exploring this relationship instead of just an episodic, here's the nerdy thing they do this week, then I'll be on board. I'm willing to give it more time to see if that is the case or not. So that is 2, actually, double fucks in a row, both Comic Girls and Wotakoi.
I have an idea, and I probably should have prefaced this earlier, but I only just concurrently remembered. So, we have 4 episodes under our belt, don't we?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, 3 of this one.
Well, yeah, 2. True.
Yeah.
Think we can kill 2 shows this week? I mean, think about it. We're 4 episodes in. I think that is deserving.
I think that if we had made that a clear expectation ahead of time, we could have made an argument for it. Damn. I think deciding that on the moment is a little off.
A good idea, and I'm all behind it.
See, 2v1, you're wrong. We're doing it.
I say, should the circumstances go that way, it might be fun. But we'll see.
I think that you guys have already shown that you're not willing to make the cuts that need to be cut, so I don't give a shit.
Oh!
If the thing that I want to die isn't on the table, then No, I kind of don't want. Yeah, no, I think next season we will need to take a closer look at this 3-episode rule and whether it needs to be a thing. Because honestly, I think we could have cut some shit last week, but we decided not to.
I might not be wrong.
I think next season the way we solve that conundrum is fuck the 3-episode rule. It's dumb. But
What you say that?
Yeah, and that saved us from that one god-awful show. Almost.
Also, you just fucked Wotakoi after knifing it last week. Are you sure that 3-episode rule is so bad?
Wotakoi wouldn't have been the thing that died last week if we had the 3-episode. We had some triple knives last week.
No, I'm not saying it would have died, but you turned around on it.
Yeah, because it was already giving enough to you that we would have kept going with it.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying, let's see if there's anything that was a unanimous kill that we get turned around.
Please, I
on.
think I have an idea. What's next?
Yeah.
Let's talk about Space Battleship Tiramisu.
Okay.
In episode 3, Lieutenant Fanservice comes aboard the Tiramisu and is assigned to Subaru's Gundam. Well, he's assigned to her girly-ass Franks-looking mecha, which is very embarrassing for him. He uses its mecha hands to grope its mecha boobs, which explode. He's then assigned a newer model Gundam that he doesn't know how to use. It's hilarious. And then in episode 4, Subaru goes to a space convenience store and overindulges on drinks, so he has to fight while needing to pee. Later, while cleaning his cockpit, he encounters a stray pubic hair and makes friends with it. It's hilarious.
I hate you doing these summaries, man. You are telling the crowd the wrong thing.
Hey, I'm going to throw this out there, and I said this when I started doing these summaries. If there is a show where you would rather write the summaries yourself, all you have to do is say the word, and I will turn that show over to you.
Good. I will.
Okay?
That will happen.
All right. That is fine.
If I could be the middle ground here, it was accurate.
Okay.
This show is dumb as hell.
Yeah.
This is a dumb show.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Like this is it's weird because the pacing is odd to me. Like I can't tell how I feel about it. Because sometimes the jokes come real fast and hard, and the expressions and responses are good, but I'm just there are times where I thought the pube thing was dumb, but the thing surrounding the pube thing with the fucking new type bullshit,
yeah, the new type bullshit. That's great.
yeah, no, that got me. I'm like, that's funny.
And then-
know what that is about. I know what this is parodying, and I'm into it.
Yeah.
But the pubic hair thing was like, I feel like you're just doing this because that's kind of gross and weird. And
Is that wrong?
I mean, to a certain extent, because when it's so blatantly obvious for me, it just kind of like, okay, I guess, but
I feel like that's every episode of Aqua Teen Hunger Force. That
yeah,
show does and that's great. I don't get what's different.
I mean, Aqua Teen Hunger Force is a show.
Yeah, and it's awesome.
I don't get high enough for that.
Maybe that's the difference.
It has its awesome seasons before it ran itself into the ground.
No, totally.
Oh yeah, I mean, before they really just had no idea what to do with it, and were only continuing it because it kept getting views on Adult Swim. Yeah,
It's why, all respect for the dead for Harry Gause. I'm glad C-Lab had to end when it did before it could climb up its own ass, because I love that show.
Oh, it got up there, but it barely made it past the sphincter before they're like, nope, we're done. We're done.
Well, yeah, that's why I'm not counting any of the Tornado Shanks episodes, because those don't count.
Nope. Anyway, so yeah, the Battleship Tiramisu. It's hilarious.
I mean, that's kind of the question mark. Like, here's the thing. This other stuff on the list, Comic Girls, oh, Ben, you just haven't watched enough anime to appreciate this. No, because this is just being what it is and doing what it does. It's not clever. It doesn't put a twist on it. It doesn't do anything. It's just the same garbage. This, I can see that it's doing stuff and playing off of tropes and tweaking noses. This is actually the show that is probably real good, and I just haven't watched enough anime to appreciate it. Or at least is better than I'm giving it credit for.
Yeah.
Let's put it out there. If y'all say it's real good, I'll take it on faith. I don't know.
As a guy who knows exactly what it's doing, okay, so the difference is I know what it's doing, but I'm not a mecha guy. I don't claim to be. My favorite Gundam's Gundam Wing, and I know it's bad. So, and then my second favorite Gundam is G Gundam, and
That's
G Gundam might be
not
actually
Gundam.
better.
Yeah, it's not even a Gundam show, really.
So, like, okay, actually, no, my favorite Gundam is 8th MS Team, but I don't know if that makes it any better either.
Not really.
So, yeah. So if you're into mecha, like, it's probably going to hit actually harder than just a guy who knows what mecha is, which is me. So I get it, but it also has no, like, emotional resonance with me to where it makes it extra funny because I love it. But that being said, I also kind of feel like it does a little bit of the Japanese thing of kind of doing the obvious thing instead of like it does subvert it, but in an obvious manner. That being said, I did laugh a couple of times. I thought the new type joke was A+. I thought him groping the boobies and them exploding was a good play on the fact that that was a Mazinger reference actually. I like the fact that I don't know. It's not bad. I'm not gonna call it bad. I'm gonna call it really dumb. I'm gonna say that it's a lot of fun, and I'm gonna fuck it. I'll keep fucking it, but I will say this. This might be its last fuck if it doesn't get a little bit more like. It needs to do something bigger for me. It needs to do something a little bit better than this in the future.
It's exactly what it needs to be. 7 minutes, 2 shorts. If you've seen any mech show, you know what it's doing. And seeing this character, who is the main protag of every single mecha show from 2000 and onward, getting taken down a peg because, God, they're so fucking annoying.
I do love the shot where he's like just double chugging.
Yeah.
The mecha shows that I've seen are not the ones that this is going after. I haven't seen a lot of Gundam. I haven't seen Mazinger. I've seen Gurren Lagann and I've seen Big O, and I love those both.
Oh yeah.
You have seen super robot shows. This is real robot, like boring military man who's the best at everything, but really dumb.
Yeah. So sorry, I'm just not getting much out of this. Well, I was about to say, I hope you don't fucking need my permission. You're gonna watch it no matter what.
Yep.
That said, when we start getting to that real shit, this is only 7 minutes. So,
yeah. Like that is the thing. That is the only reason that I can tolerate this show is that the stuff that I don't like is over so quickly. And unlike with Pop Team Epic, I get all of it.
Yeah.
And like. Afterwards, when I look back at it, I can still get a chuckle. Where with Pop Team Epic, I'm like, yeah, that did happen. That was really weird.
Speaking of weird, let's talk about Gegege no Kitaro. In episode 3, a giant madball toy kidnaps children and turns them into stone pillars. When he gets 13, the last of which is mana because, of course, he revives the Yokai Castle, a spooky castle that can turn humans into yokai, I guess? It's vague. Sandaljack and the friendly yokai, who are just kind of there all of a sudden, show up and fight the Madball and his henchmen, who are also just kind of around, and the Madball says over and over that they are invincible as long as the yokai castle stands. Sandaljack finally takes the fucking hint and knocks down the pillars, freeing the children, unsummoning the yokai castle, and making Madball and his henchmen defeatable. And then in episode 4, Yokai Fanboy wanders into the spooky forest and convinces Sandaljack to show him around. Despite being warned not to touch anything, he picks up a fruit, which pisses off a Cyclops spirit. The Cyclops calms down when the fruit is returned, and Sandaljack and his friends apologize for not warning Fanboy, even though they totally did warn him not to touch anything. Fanboy is returned home with no lasting negative consequences for being an idiot.
That summary made me yawn twice.
Yep. You know what? Episode 4 might be the best of these 4 episodes that we've watched. The rules are clearly laid out. He transgresses against them. Something bad happens. They fix the situation in a manner that follows logically from what he did. This is a show for children. And episode 4 is the minimum that I would expect from a show for children. Like, this is something that I could show to a child and say, hey, watch this. It will not actively harm your developing brain. Scott, wake up. You've got to hold up a knife.
No. It's boring. It's a boring show.
Very boring.
So boring.
Yes!
It's got a great opening, though.
Yeah, I like the opening. Triple knife!
Get off of my watch list. Oh, what? No. I like that I can turn. I do
nice.
love the fact that I can answer or just like decline a phone call with my watch. Also, I'm going to put this on mute. Bad.
One week I don't remind you guys.
Gegege No Kitaro, more like ZZZ, no.
Guess what? We never have to talk about it ever
Oh
again.
my god.
Unless you want to put that opening up for the fuck buddies, but
Oh, yeah, it's definitely going on for the fuck buddies. I won't lie to you. It's one of my favorite openings this season, but
yeah, but that's not for like another month. We'll all be dead by then. It's fine.
Yeah.
Lupin III Part V. In episode 3, Lupin pits the hitmen against each other with Jigen and Goemon cleaning up whoever's left standing in a battle royale. Intercut with this, we get a bit of backstory on Ami, how she was kidnapped by child pornographers who discovered her super hacking abilities when she built an Atari 2600 in a cave with a box of scraps and used her to program Marco Polo instead. As the episode ends, Fujiko Mine parachutes in and, after a bit of banter, pulls a gun on Lupin and announces that if anyone kills him, it should be her. And then in episode 4, Fujiko shoots at Lupin, but Zenigata shows up and rescues him, intending to escort him to the Bwandan border where he can arrest him. Zenigata, Lupin, and Ami cross a desert on foot, stopping only to take down a helicopter with a net, because that makes sense. When they reach the border, they are ambushed by a pair of snipers, and one of them shoots Lupin in the fucking head. Only, not really, because this is fucking Lupin. But, for the sake of argument, cliffhanger, I guess. I don't know, you looked like you had something to say.
Lupin III. I love the show. I'm sorry. I love. Oh man. Oh, it's so good. I won't lie to you. Like, I'm actually really into the show. I thought going into this that it was gonna be just kind of boring Lupin capers with not a lot of originality or imagination. And no, I love these assassin dudes all showing up. I love their different personalities and designs. I'm a little sad we don't get more with them, like get to see more of them. But the ways they're dispatched are pretty okay, pretty good. I love the fact that Mr. Fishline guy, he's like, I've got you now, and he's like, how are you gonna pull me in with that like that? And his hands are on the floor. I like the rat leader. I like the mama. I like the allusions to the old TV specials, Dead or Alive, and Island of Assassins. I like that Fujiko shows up and she's like, yeah, I want that bounty though. And I got an idea about Fujiko's whole deal because she's never really tried to kill Lupin, and I think there's something that was happening there that like ties into what happens at the end of this episode, or episode 4. I also just adore any time we get Zenigata and Lupin in a room where they can't do anything to each other.
100%.
That
totally.
shit is the best.
That's one of the reasons why I love the ending so much, because there's just that one shot where they're at the bar and just like sharing a drink like old friends.
Yep.
And that's all I want out of those two.
Yep.
Because they can't exist without one another. Like it's a fantastic Sherlock Holmes Moriarty deal of like they kind of complete each other in certain ways, and they play so well together. And in those scenes where Lupin's like, "Hey pops, if I die, take care of the girl," and he's like, "There's no way anything's happening to you, but okay." And also Ami in these episodes is good too. Like legitimately, I like her. I thought she was going to be so annoying in one note, but then she smiles and she laughs when she survives. And then she gets the water and she's so thankful and happy. And she gets angry and frustrated at the desert. Like when it's like, so what do you think of the desert? And it's like, it's a dry, bone-dry hellscape. And she screams it out to the world. And I'm like, ugh. Also, the production value is still like sky high.
Totally.
Looks so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not quite as warm on it. Like, there are some nitpicks in there. Like, what the fuck was the deal with that helicopter and the net? How did that? That's always been kind of a part of Lupin. Not all of the heists and hijinks make sense if you think about them for 2 seconds.
Well, what do you mean? What was the problem?
They throw a net at a helicopter?
Okay, them throwing the net at the helicopter is not the problem I necessarily have. It's the same problem I've had with every Lupin series. How did they get the net and set it up like that? Because she leads them over to where she can hit the thing and it sends the net flying. Why did they expect that the helicopter was coming?
And would hover at exactly that height where they'd be able to hit it instead of being way higher than that?
Yeah, like I'll give that to you. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird, and I thought it was weird when it happened. I also loved it, so
And we're back. Sorry, technical thingy dings. Lupin III Part V is still a thing. It's still really pretty. The plot oftentimes doesn't make sense. I don't know.
yeah. But the plot at large is consistent enough and coherent enough, and I also kind of totally gave away who the snipers are.
Did it?
Oh yeah. Okay, there's 2 of them, and one of them was smoking. There's almost only one character who consistently smokes in the series, especially the type of cigarettes that he had.
Oh, yeah.
The one that's kind of crinkled up.
No, yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like, that's fucking Jigen.
Yeah.
And that shot to the head was planned. It's why Lupin stands there in the middle of the smoke, just like, okay, cool, this is the time, do it.
Yeah.
So, like, Lupin has died so many times, and usually with shots to the head, to give you that idea of, like, there's no way he got out of that. I'm like, yeah, no, it's just Jigen and Lupin. All right, Jigen and Goemon.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, I think Fujiko was planning on doing the same thing, and the reason Lupin didn't let her was because he's like, no, I'm getting the bounty on me, not you. Shut up. Because, yeah, Fujiko shows up there and it's like, yeah, I'm going to take that bounty. And I'm like, bitch, you're just there because you're going to shoot him. He's going to be fine, but then you get to claim the bounty because it was on video.
Well, I'm still watching it. I'm still fucking it. I'm enjoying it. I've got some nitpicks, but they're not important in the grand scheme.
I love this show. And oh my God, the ending is so good.
Ending's really good.
I can't, sometimes I'll skip the opening for this. I cannot skip that ending. It's beautiful. Like, it may be one of my favorite endings of all time. If you don't expect this to be, like, argued for heavily by me on the Fuck Buddies, then you're crazy.
It's a very good ending.
It is. Just good.
Oh yeah, you barely had anything to say about it.
Because I don't have anything to say. It's fine. I think it's a good 7 or 8.
Yeah.
I'm not huge on modern day thrillers. I'm really not.
That's fine.
Yeah. I mean, I would tend to agree. Like, I'd probably lean more towards an 8, but I think the difference between that 7 and 8 probably comes down to, I remember these characters. I like them.
Mm-hmm. I do. I remember them. I like them. I've seen a whole bunch of Lupin, and it's fine. It really is. I like how they use technology.
You know, it's funny. I talked this up a lot. I'd actually place it closer to an 8, but for me, it's just objectively, I'd say this is an 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like more closer to a 9, just because I don't know. There's something about it that's really, really hitting on all cylinders for me. I can just see where its flaws are.
Yeah.
There was a real good bit where, it does the thing where it shows, almost always shows, like, comments of people who are watching the Lupin game and doing the thing. And there's this real good bit where everybody's like, oh, Lupin's totally fucking dead now. Oh, yeah, they got him. Who's going to win the pool? And then, hey, I showed up to the stream late. What'd I miss?
Yeah.
The best thing that happened to Lupin was the introduction of social fucking media, and I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does, like, little things like that just give it that ring of authenticity that a lot of the other stuff on this list is kind of missing sometimes.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I get you.
But that's triple fuck for good old Lupin. It's safe. Actually, everything's safe except for Gegege. Unless something else gets a triple knife, then we'll be pulling out that wheel.
So you're saying Lupin got a ménage à trois?
Ha-ha. Guys, let's talk about Sword Art Online Alternative Gun Gale Online Extended Edition Reloaded.
.exe.
Episode 3. Pito introduces Len and M, and the two of them prepare to team up in the Battle Royale from Episode 1. All of the exposition that was handled very quickly and efficiently in that first episode is now belabored for no apparent reason. And in episode 4, back in the present, Len and M fight an enemy team that has found some hovercrafts. M deploys a portable bunker and snipes them, while Len draws their fire with her speed. The final team ambushes Len and M, wounding them both, and they retreat. M draws his pistol and points it at Len and says, "I'm sorry," then fires. Cliffhanger! Oh, except not, because the episode continues for kind of a long time after the credits. They have a fight, Len wins, and M cries like a little bitch. Okay. Did you guys keep watching after the credits?
I did.
No.
Yeah, a whole bunch of shit happens.
Yeah, you gotta
Okay.
be careful about that.
This was not this was not like a
Do
little.
I have to be careful about that?
It's
Probably not.
I mean,
Okay.
Like,
I have 11 things to watch. Credits done. Next.
yeah. Also, like, I'm sure this plot point will be reiterated in the beginning of the next episode. I
Yeah.
don't think you actually missed anything.
Okay, so I want to get the heavy criticisms out of the way because there were things that I liked, but I just need to be like, yes, he aimed on his own. It's not that insane. Shut up.
Also, we know there are people who play this game who are real life, like policemen and like people who would know how to shoot. If it is such an overpowering advantage, why would everybody at the top levels of play not be able to do this?
It's so hard not to devolve into nitpicking and stuff with this when 80% of these past episodes is exposition. I don't care about these characters at all. They are not focusing on a dynamic between the two. It's just, wow, you know a lot about guns because you spend 10 minutes telling me about them. That's all we have for these two.
The worst part is I like Len.
I think she's fine.
Yeah, I like her. And I actually like her relationship with Scargirl well enough. I don't remember her name. But I like her. I like their relationship. I like the reason that she plays the game. Oh, apparently she was playing demos of all those other games?
I guess.
Yeah. So that's why she wasn't spending like thousands of dollars. And apparently it's also implied that that's why she couldn't choose her character because she was kept doing demos and that didn't allow you to.
No, that was not implied.
That was
I'm sorry, in the book.
Okay, then
Yeah.
this adaptation is bad.
I'm not. I'm only putting that out for clarification.
Let's talk something about clarifications and well actuallys.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
that's a lot of the feedback that we've gotten about our talk about this is, well, actually in the novels, or well, actually in the previous, we don't care.
care. I'm
Yeah.
not reading the book. I'm
Yep.
watching the show.
Yep.
Yeah.
And also, by the way, I have not seen a single one of them where I go, oh, then that makes sense. I just don't care enough to argue back about it. Like, it totally makes sense that because it's all based on the seed of the original game, and so that one didn't have character customization.
No.
So what?
Yeah, no, that is dumb as hell.
Yeah.
That is a dumb reason.
And-
And everybody says like, "Oh, it was based on the original," and like, no, I don't give
Yeah.
half a crap. That's a dumb reason.
Every game that comes out in 2018, like 80% of them are on the Unreal Engine. They don't all.
Yeah.
They're not all first-person shooters where you have a choice of 8 guns that you choose with the number pad, like Unreal was.
Yeah. So
That's not how engines and video games work.
yeah, and like, oh yeah, so he pulls out that that metal shield, and I'm like, oh yeah, no, that makes sense. You know, they're
Yeah, kinda cool.
They can't get a vantage point on him. That's a perfect thing to use in this situation. And then he goes into what it's made out of, and I'm like, okay, going a little like, and then extending on why it's useful. I'm like, we get it.
Yeah.
We get anybody who's watching the show knows what that is, how effective it is. Just use it, pull it out, and use it. Stop explaining this crap.
Yep.
I don't care about this game.
But-
I'm sorry, I don't give a shit about Gun Gale Online because by and large, I know everything about what this game is doing. Explain the rules, explain the characters, and then move on.
And that's the thing. The first episode, in retrospect, did that very well.
Yeah.
Like, it dropped you right into the action, explained to you just enough so that you could follow what was going on, and then moved on. Episode 3, like, fucked all that up
Totally.
by going over all that shit again point by point. Like, no, you already did enough. You're good. You did it. You're done.
yeah.
Yeah, but real quick, on the subject of nitpicks, if your answer to a nitpick is not, well, it actually makes sense because of this, but just, oh yeah, that doesn't bother me. That is a totally valid response that I can respect. If it just doesn't bother you because you're getting enough out of this to that you can suspend your disbelief, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, not that a well-reasoned well actually is necessarily bad, but if you don't...
But I haven't seen
No,
one
it
yet.
is.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
but if it's
actually
not a
bad, though.
well-reasoned one and you were literally just do not care, cool. Like, look, it's hard for me to explain why I like comic girls.
Yeah, I
just
could. That's
do.
exactly.
Like, and if you like Gun Gale Online and you're like, no, I actually like learning about this game and I like this setup and I like this stuff, I'm like, that's also cool.
Yeah, like here's the thing. It's not like this show's a fucking trash fire,
No,
okay?
oh God, no.
It's like it's got this world, it's got this game that it's going through, it's got some pretty well done action scenes.
The music's really good.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
I really like the music.
It's a little understated, but it works when it does.
Yeah, it does a good job of having these pretty involved action scenes without becoming confusing. I'm never confused about what's going on. That's something that a lot of shows fuck up.
Yeah.
If this sounds like I'm damning it with faint praise, I kind of am because I'm still not enjoying it. But I'm not telling anybody that they're wrong. If this
Yeah.
is your thing, that's fine. It's not mine. Sorry.
Give me one more episode because I want to see where this plot line is going, and I like the characters. And while I don't necessarily care about this game, I'm kind of interested in what we see next.
If I was 14, it'd be this. I have watched more and experienced more, so it's this.
Yeah.
I get why people like it. When you read more and see more things, you will see a lot of problems that this has. Because it's just doing a lot of things in a lesser sense, but I like what it's trying to do. Just other shit has done it so much better.
And I think that's what it comes down to. If this is your first exposure to something like this, then yeah, of course you like it. And that's fine. There's lots of shit that I like that looking back on it from a vantage point of 10, 15 years later, like, oh yeah, I guess that actually wasn't as mind-blowing and original as I thought it was, and other stuff has done it better before and since. Oh well, I still like this one because it was my first.
Yeah.
Sex is like that. Not really. My first sex was not great, but that's a different conversation. Let's talk now about Hinamatsuri. In episode 3, Anzu learns the ways of being homeless from a friendly hobo who gets her into his hobo camp. Hina's school friend Hitomi is still tending bar, and she's stupid good at it. Hina decides to clean Nita's apartment for him, but she's stupid bad at it and makes a big mess. And then in episode 4, Nita comes home to find the mess and kicks Hina out. Hina moves in with Anzu at the hobo camp for a while, but kicks out of there too when she doesn't pull her weight. She finds a career as a street magician and buys Nita a cheap vase to apologize for breaking his expensive ones, and he takes her back. Then Hitomi makes friends with Anzu, but their income differences make things awkward. That was about the broadest level synopsis that I could get to. Like, there's a whole lot more specifics there, but here's the thing that I discovered about this show in these 2 episodes, which in retrospect was there in the first couple as well. This show is not just Looney Tunes, where it's just wacky, crazy hijinks. It also has a whole lot of heart.
Weirdly.
Yeah.
I did not expect. Look, it's not. There's a bit of whiplash here, but I kind of like the whiplash. I kind of like that in the first 2 episodes, it's this crazy dumb bullshit. And then episode 3, it's a rumination and exploration of the homeless problem in Japan?
Yeah.
What?
I mean, it never quite loses that crazy, wacky cartoon hijinks. Like in episode 3, when I think it's where Hitomi and the bartender Utako, where they're like double and triple blackmailing each other.
Oh,
yeah.
that's so
that
good.
scene is amazing.
Yeah, I love that.
That scene is great
They're-
because
I love their expressions continue to sell things so well too.
yes, because she holds up the phone like, I got a picture of you right here, and you see Hitomi like, and I'm like, it's so good, it's the best. And then unfortunately, she's still an adult, and she's like, are you kidding? I bat that up to my computer. What do you think I am? And I'm like, yep, that's what you do.
Yeah.
Like, and so. And then she becomes a bartender there. And yeah, she's really good at it. And then her teacher comes in and
Yeah, I
is
love
like,
her. I love that bit with her and her teacher.
It's like, you are not a bartender. You are my student. She's like, nope, I've just been working here for a long time. And it's like, yeah, where's your stirring callus? I've been doing it so long it went away. What? No!
But then the way she turns the tables on him, like, yeah, you probably don't want people knowing that your student was a bartender either. That sort of reflects bad on you. Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I guess we're all in this together.
Yep.
But in the first episode especially, I complained that there were only a couple of real like laugh out loud moments for me. But now that I know these characters a little better, like, and have some affection for them, I don't know that. This may have made me laugh a little more often, but even when it didn't, that's what carried me between those laugh out loud moments is just, I like these characters. They're all basically good people who kind of care about each other.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's pleasant. I really enjoyed my time with it this week.
Yeah, it's kind of, it's so interesting. Because, yeah, you're right. Nobody in here is really a bad person. I mean, you have a Yakuza guy.
Yeah.
But even he wants Hina to be okay. Even he doesn't want to hurt people. And so, like, when he kicks her out, it's totally justified. She's a nightmare to live with. But he does come around like, no, I can't just let this little girl live on the street. Doesn't matter if she has psychic powers or not. I need to keep trying. And yeah, it's just such a weird show. This is so weird.
And I think that it's really dynamic cast is what's carrying a lot of interest for me. Just having this Yakuza guy and this crazy cool bartender and now like the teacher and these psychic kids and the homeless people. Like, it's just such a really colorful cast that seeing them all intermingle in these weird scenarios, just a bunch of goofy stuff. And the show's sense of humor really helps carry it, like you said, between moment to moment. And then when it wants to drop something really nice, it's just like, yeah, no, I'm right there. Like when she gives him like the $30 vase, and he's just like, whatever. And it's, that bit ends with you just seeing him display it. It's like, oh.
Yeah, in the opening, there's like the big like panning shot of the entire cast, and watching that before seeing anything of the show, it's like, oh god, I'm gonna have to keep track of all of these guys, and it's done a great job of introducing them one by one as they become relevant. Like, they introduced a whole band, which I didn't even touch on in my plot synopsis. But those guys are great. Like,
Totally.
She joins the band for about 10 minutes, and then she announces that she's leaving.
And it's this big dramatic scene
Yeah.
where
Yeah,
she's like, wait, no, you can't leave. And then the other guy's like, no, stop.
This is something she has to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the
Look at
lead
her
singer's
face.
like, it's fine.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Yeah.
That whole scene, I was like, are they actually doing this? And I'm like, yeah, they are. And it's
Yeah, they
so
do one
good.
performance, and she's like, I'm quitting the band. It's I don't know. There's something about it that just rings so well with me. It's just like, this is the type of comedy that is just so good. I don't know. It's great.
It really helps that the expressions are the art in this show is phenomenal.
It's incredible.
Besides just the animation, which is again just A+, like just fantastic for every scene that it's in. It nails the animation, the art, the expressions, the faces on these characters are some of the best I've ever seen. I'm sorry, like, way to go.
And he, like, even at the beginning when Hina's getting kicked out, and you just see this like super morose, like heavy like lines on her face, but she's just a plain like, she can't do anything other than monotone all the time.
Yeah. And you said, when Nita kicks her out, it's totally justified. I don't know that it actually is if you were to try to apply real world, like, what kind of a person actually kicks a small child out on the street? But as I was watching it and going, wow, this is really harsh for him, and then realized, wow, why do I care so much? I care about these characters now. When did that happen? Holy shit.
Yeah.
And if you think about how she came into his life, it's totally justified. This chick just came out of nowhere, landed in his house, and is now eating his food and wrecking his shit. It's totally justified to be like, you know what? No, you're obviously superhuman. You don't need to be here. And he brings her back in, because she wants to come back. Not that she needs like his help. She doesn't need his help. No. She wants to be with him because she likes him, and he's like, fine.
In 4 episodes, this has done what I wanted Ancient Magus Bride to do, which is she has another place in the world that will accept her, and she goes back because this is the life she wants.
Yeah.
Only without the weird age gap romance issues making it all weird, too.
I know. I try to tell people about this, and they're like, "Oh, I don't want creepy like young girl thing." That's not what
Nope.
this is.
This
If you
is
haven't
all
watched
an
it yet,
allegory for parenthood.
It's all father-daughter shit, just dealing with some new responsibility and
Waking
it's
up
so
one
fun.
day and realizing you have this strange alien creature that is dependent on you.
Yes, and one that isn't very selfish and does not understand social cues and all of these things that just really tell you, like, yep, kids are a nightmare. Have fun.
Yeah.
I relate to this show so much. Being a single father.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being the only actual father here.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, did you know that our cameraman Tyler's got a little kid? His name is Asher. He's adorable.
Asher Valtuokoi. His middle name is from a Silent Hill monster.
Hey, nice.
I don't know that there's much more to say, except that this show's real good and everyone should watch it.
I agree. This show is legit great. Legit great.
I'm just trying to tell everybody I know about it. And if any element seems like a turnoff for you, I assure you it's not what you think it is.
Do you know what my favorite running story in this whole thing is? He told me as the bartender. That is my favorite joke because it just happens. It happens, and she has to stick with it. And the fact that she's really good at it, and she's finding fulfillment and making other people happy out of it, I'm like, this is the best. This is so good.
Yep. And the fact that sticks around too. Like I love how much, like, again, Looney Tunes logic would be, okay, new episode, new situation, none of what happened matters. Everything that happens has consequences, even if it's weird and dumb.
Yup.
And oh man, show's great.
Also, gosh, I can't believe how like emotionally resonant Anzu being able to here, take all these cans. She's ecstatic, and I'm like, good for you, girl. Why am I? Oh my god, I care about these characters. I had that same like shit.
Guys, speaking of characters, we explored some in Legend of the Galactic Heroes, the new thesis, I will call it, because I don't want to try to pronounce German.
So it's the new thesis.
It is, that is the
Okay,
translation.
Cool. That's what I thought it was, but I'm like, that's just an American thinking that all these words are going to sound like American words.
Yep. And somebody on Twitter, nicely, respectfully, politely, they weren't telling me that I was doing a bad, but just said, hey, if you were interested in how to pronounce the German, this is how you would do it. And I read it and said, yeah, that's not too hard. And now it's already gone.
Yep.
So thank you for trying to educate me. You did a good, but I did not retain it. Anyway, in episode 3, after another voiceover expo dump about calendars and emperors and shit, we get an episode-long flashback about how Reinhard and Kirchheis met as children. Rein was born to the lower nobility, and Kirchheis was a commoner. I'm probably butchering that too, but I'm trying. Rein's sister Anne Rose was taken from her family by the Kaiser to become his wife or mistress. It's sort of vague about which. And Rein was so pissed that he decided to join the military so that someday he could overthrow the nobility and become emperor himself. And Kirchheis dedicates himself to helping his friend. Interestingly, nobody ever seems to think to ask Anne Rose how she feels about the whole deal. And then in episode 4, switcheroo, now we're talking about Yang. He grew up on a trading vessel and wanted to study history but couldn't afford tuition, so he joined the military history program of the Alliance Naval Academy. When he defeats the head of the class in a mock battle, he's ordered to transfer to strategic studies. He graduates, saves some civilians, gets some promotions, and a dope house in the suburbs, and adopts a war orphan. Also, his friends Jean and Jessica are around, I guess.
Bless you,
Bless you,
Tyler,
yeah.
who just sneezed like 4 times, buddy.
So coming off of episode 2, I remember saying, all right, you've shown me a big, grand space battle. You've set the scene. I'm kind of interested in getting into some characters now. That is 100% what we do here. Let's talk about how these guys got here.
I love seeing the Flash in episode 3. I really like seeing Reinhard and Kirchheis like have this this relationship that I totally have with one of my friends still. Like who I just met because, hey, we're next to each other. We kind of have similar goals and yeah, let's do it.
Siegfried, a commoner's name, but I like Kirheis. You want
Yeah.
to come over and play Tiddlywinks?
And just that final shot too. Like I didn't realize that Reinhard was just fucking Shar Aznable. I had no idea that he just like, oh yeah, I hate these guys. I'm gonna kick all their asses.
That's a weird way to pronounce Griffith, but okay.
Oh my god, I'm sorry. Let me convert it to the only thing you can understand as well.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, like I love seeing that, and just you get a bunch of inklings of this this empire, and kind of how they all seem to have it kind of easy, which comes back in at episode 4, which I like, where Yang's explained like, so how did like this guy just show up and take over everything, and his dad's like, because people didn't care, they just wanted easy lives. Like oh yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Well, that happens. Sometimes people
Yeah.
take over because they promise an easier life. I always kind of come back to one of the best lines from the Avengers movie where Loki's like, "Isn't this easier? Being subjugated."
Yeah.
And it's like, and that's how a lot of tyrants take power, because you won't have any freedoms, and you might be subject to losing your livelihood at any time. But otherwise, you're pretty
shit's fine.
to be-
Yeah, we're hanging out. Nobles and commoners, I guess, live in the same spots. There's not like a huge class divide. You get to see like these other magnate kids of magnates that like have servants that they're just treating like shit.
Well, but they're all nobles.
Yeah,
Remember?
they're all nobles.
Yeah, everyone there is of nobility. He's just of lower nobility.
Yeah.
And
I assumed that Kirheis's family would have been like on the upper echelons of commoners, and Reinhardt's would have been on the lower echelons of nobility, which is why they can mix a little.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
that's me imposing my interpretation. It doesn't actually say that explicitly.
it kind of does, actually.
Does it? I
Okay,
must have missed it.
not with Kirheis, but it basically.
Oh yeah, it definitely
Oh, yeah,
tells you
that's
that.
right.
Yeah, that Reinhardt is of a lower station than these other nobles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Siegfried is just a commoner, and he calls him out for that too. Yeah. But beyond that, they start this kind of friendship, and that's when he says, "I'm taking you with me," because it's cool, because he's like, "You're the one guy I want by my side because you got my back, and that's great." And so it's great to see Kirheis's response to that, as he's suddenly rocketing up through the ranks. He's like, I wasn't ready for this. I don't know how to respond to this. I should be honored and ecstatic. And you can see that mild anxiety that's bubbling under the surface.
Yeah.
And I like that. That's good stuff on his part.
He seems to be the one like I'm the most curious about him and what he's gonna do with this like throughout this whole thing.
Oh yeah, if I had to be completely honest, Reinhard and Yang, okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm all about Kirheis.
Oh, totally.
He's the normal guy here who's very competent and good at his job, but he's also the most humble. He's also the most worldly. He's like, so when you have Yang, you have this character who talks about like, you have to know what suffering's about. You have to know what it's like to be on the ground level. And he takes a lot of history and he uses that to like.
Which I like that they explain it that way.
Yeah, it's like you have to look backwards to realize what you want to do next. And like Yang's also a good character. I think he's fine. But he's also another one of those characters. Like again, up with Reinhardt, he's the blue to the red, and they've got that whole thing going on. But again, in the middle, you have Kirheis, who is this guy who's in nobility but feels more like a normal guy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, Yang, I think I liked episode 3 a little more than episode 4 because there's more conflict there, and Ryan is an active character throughout episode 4 at least, and presumably we're going to see more of him. Yang's a pretty passive character for most of that. Like, I want to be a historian, so this is kind of what I got to do. Oh, I'm in the military and I got to do what they say now. Okay. I guess living in the suburbs is just what you do now. I got these promotions. He's just kind of like drifting along, which is not a bad thing necessarily. It just makes this episode a little more subdued.
Yeah.
if I had to be honest with you, that's one of my problems with the show. It's subdued. And I'm like, no, come on. Like, look, I know that this is based off of like a 70s, 80s?
I think it was early 80s.
Yeah, 80s novel, and a lot of these characters are very dryly written to kind of, like, no, this isn't over-the-top hijinks, this is real military. But I'm like, yeah, still could give me some, like, edges here. Give me some roughness. Like, show me the conflict with these characters and the situations they're being put in, other than basically blatantly telling us, well, they're reluctantly doing it, and then they just do
Yeah,
it.
and I think you get more of that in 3 than you do in 4. I think 4 is emblematic, I think, of like the worst problems with it so far.
Also, I won't lie to you, I do not like these character designs, and not in the idea of the designs, but the eyes, the expressions.
I think they're really cool.
Oh no! See, yeah, I'm not into it. I feel like everyone looks too pretty. Nobody looks like a regular human being to me.
They don't emote a whole lot, which is it's one of those things that it's part of the story. Everybody's kind of stoic a lot of the time, but that can make them a little hard to relate to.
Yeah.
That said, what I did like about episode 4, being an army brat myself, this was a lot more immediately relatable to my own real world experience. Like, yeah, they're flying around in space and stuff, but no, that's kind of how the military works. Like, you get in because that's the way you can get yourself an education.
Yep.
That wasn't the case for my family particularly, but for a lot of the people that I grew up with on military bases, like, yeah, my dad joined up for the GI Bill so he could get himself a college education, and guess what? When you do that, they're not giving you a college education out of the goodness of their hearts. You got to serve. It is upward mobility for people who wouldn't otherwise have it, and it's not like the worst thing in the world. Except that sometimes it is, like when they were talking about the adoption program.
Yeah.
That was where it's like, oh God, this is like this horrible machine.
Yeah, because obviously you're gonna have war casualties, get a bunch of war orphans, and they're like, yeah, so if you adopt him and then he signs up to join the military, hey, loans forgived. So try to push that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's and they're the good guys, ostensibly.
I
Yeah.
mean, this.
That's what I like about this. It's, again, real Gundam shit, where, like, Xeon Fetties, and as things go on, neither of them are really, like, good. They both have very questionable things.
Yeah, that's the thing. For our American sensibilities, if you set up one side as the Empire and the other side as literally anything else, but this other side is
You literally have the Empire and the Rebels.
Yeah. Well, the Empire calls them the Rebels. They call themselves the Alliance and the Federation and all of these things that we associate with. Oh, these are the good guys. These are the trappings of the good guys.
Yeah.
They're multicultural as opposed to the The Empire is entirely everything's German as shit.
Which I love that they point that out too, with the guy that comes in with the artificial eyes and shit. But he's got to be a spy or something. He's got to be something. But then he's like, oh yeah, thankfully, it was a congenital problem, but where it would have been in the past, I would have been fucking killed because we had a eugenics program for inferior genes. I was like, oh, okay.
Also, Rudolph, we find out why it's German. Rudolph was like, yes, I love all this, ancient. He basically just loved the aesthetic and is like, I want this to be a part of our culture.
Yep.
And then it forever was.
Yeah.
Yep. Whereas the Alliance, I called them the Chinese space Greeks because Yang and I think one other character in the first couple of episodes had an obviously Chinese name, but all the ships have Greek names.
Yeah.
But a lot of the people like around like Jean and Jessica both seem pretty white bread. Like seems to be kind of a melting pot.
Yeah, because I think the leader's black. Like the main guy is.
Satoshi?
Yeah. And then they're going. It's pretty much just America because they're going out to the bar and then they're eating. I think what seemed to be fish and chips. I'm like, hell yeah.
By the way, I believe Sitole was actually named after one of the guys who created the Zimbabwe army way back in the day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's because I looked at his name and I'm like, Sithole, give me a sec.
Yeah, Sithole.
I'm like, okay.
Yep.
So good on the author for like, you know what? I'm actually gonna pull from history for some of these characters because I'm Japanese and I might not know exactly how to create English names because I mean, look at Full Metal Alchemist and all those definitely English names.
Yeah. No, this is definitely pulled from a place of research. You can tell this person knows a lot about history and conflict.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. It's really cool. I think episode 3 is what we needed to get a bit more invested in these characters. It seems we're going to get a bit more forward momentum now. I'm so curious what's going to happen. I think episode 4 wasn't as good. Still okay, but I'm hooked. I really dig this.
I was actually a little bit hesitant to give this the fuck this week because after I'd finished, I was kind of bored. I won't lie. It's dry for me, and there's always this tinge of, I don't know, it kind of being not overproduced, but just kind of plastic. But that being said, talking to you about this stuff and I actually like talking about the show with you. As a talking point, it's enjoyable, and there were parts of the show that I liked, and especially in the first 2 episodes, I love these big epic battles, and I can't wait for the next one after we've gotten to know the characters more. I think that'll make it even more endearing for me. And I remember last episode I was like, if the next couple of them don't actually give them as people, I will not like this show, and it gave me that.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. It is very subdued. It is very dry.
Totally.
These first 4 episodes are also a lot of table setting, which I think it took the time it needed to do that without making it feel rushed. I want to see where it goes next. I'm excited, interested to see where it goes next. This isn't like a ringing, this is definitely great. It's, okay, I'm with you so far. Show me what you got.
I also can't wait to see if Kirihise eats Anna Rose's pie. Because, right?
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, right?
Yeah, totally.
Oh, yeah.
No, there's going to be some affair. The Kaiser's going to find out. Yeah, I could already see all this crazy political shit happening, and that's kind of what has me excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people who are fans of the first adaptation will sing this thing's praises to the high heaven about all the politics and how intricate it gets.
Yeah.
And that's the sort of thing that I can be hot or cold on. Like Game of Thrones, I get all the way into that shit. Other things I kind of bounce off of. I'm not sure which one this will be yet.
To be fair, Game of Thrones has a good habit of giving you a lot of spice. Like, it's a spicy show, so when its politics come in, you're like, even then, it's still dirty and kind of gross about it, so.
Yeah, well, and I say Game of Thrones. What I really mean is A Song of Ice and Fire, because the show is A Song of Ice and Fire for babies.
Yeah.
As far as the intricacies of the politics go, I like the show. It's well produced, yada, yada, yada. But if what you want to do is get into each of these houses and their sigils and their heraldry and their history and all that bullshit,
Yeah.
you gotta get at the books.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see next week.
yeah. But we will also see this week if we liked Golden Kamuy, episode 3, in which Sugimoto and Ainu Girl fight off a group of soldiers and wind up with an orphaned bear cub, which they take to Ainu Girl's Ainu village. Lieutenant Crazyface conscripts some soldiers to hunt for Sugimoto and kills their commanding officer when he objects. Samurai Man enlists one of the tattooed criminals to try to steal the tattoos that the army has already collected. And that's one of those plot summaries where summarizing what happens is like, what I just described is maybe a quarter of the total runtime. Because so much of the runtime here is dedicated to, hey, let's experience this Ainu village and what their deal is. Let's talk more about Ainu cooking and their spiritual beliefs and all this stuff that doesn't fit neatly into a plot synopsis, but is way more central to what I'm getting out of this show. I really like the Ainu village.
Yeah,
Same.
Absolutely. I wasn't expecting myself to get enraptured with the Ainu culture. I love this stuff. It also helps that Asurpa is just a great character. Asurpa's real good.
She's very fun. Whenever she's on screen, I know something exciting or just fun's going to happen.
I also find myself warming up to Sugimoto. Like,
Same.
he's a hard character to kind of wrap your head around. Like, is he just kind of out for himself? Does he have a heart? What's his deal? And I still don't really know, but when he shouts out, "I am immortal," and jumps into the bear den, it's like, you know what? I don't care. I like this guy.
No, what if we took Joseph Joestar, made him Japanese, had him go through the Russo-American War, and then threw him here?
Yeah.
That's what he reminds me of. He's amazing. I love him.
I do too.
I wasn't exactly sure how to feel him in the first episode, and then I grew on me in the second, and by the third, he's got this great relationship with Asurpa. And every time he says Hina, I'm like, okay, you're smart ass.
I love him just taking the bear cub. He's like, I'm going to raise it. No, it's going to be mine.
And he's like, yep, nope, it's mine. And then, oh my God. Also, don't eat poop.
Yeah. This show, I've heard people say that like, oh, it's not as good as the manga. Whatever.
I believe you.
Sure,
Yeah.
I believe you. I think the voices are great. I think the visuals are actually pretty good. Seeing the guy like get clawed by the bear and his face dripping off. God, ugh.
That's haunting.
Yeah, like-
it's so well done too because it's a great discretionary gore shot.
Mm-hmm.
You see, it gives you just enough to see what happened.
Yeah.
And then as he's shooting at the bear, then
Just falls over.
I'm like, that's terrifying.
Yeah, like say what you will about the CG bear and the CG fire. Yeah, they suck balls. But like this, but it still is doing some really fun stuff with the medium. People are like being really expressive and animated. It's not bad.
I also love, again, learning facts about the Ainu.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that all the children have these terrible names until they reach a certain age where they're given a real name.
Yeah, my old name was grandfather's asshole.
Yep. And Sugimoto's response to that isn't like, oh, gross. He's like, yep, that would do it.
That'll keep demons away, totally.
But Sugimoto's response to a lot of this stuff is really interesting. You can see him as a guy who does not believe it, but he's also not being a dick about it because he's like, hey, man, you want to believe that animals are gods? That's cool, man. Whatever. And that's
Yeah.
great. Sugimoto, a great character with a great relationship with Asurpa. And I got to be honest, if it weren't for these two characters, I would not give a shit about the show.
Because like as much as I love the setting, if these guys weren't as exciting as they are, and like Sugimoto being as respectful as he is, it's cool just seeing like, hey, let's talk about Ainu shit and like just exploring this setting because like it's so cool. It's a great time.
Honestly, I think those are the elements that I need. The characters and the setting. I don't think one of them by itself would be enough to maintain my interest.
Yeah.
But each one is good enough to keep me going.
Because this story ain't.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be completely honest with you. The story had a neat hook at the very beginning, and then by episode 3 has already failed at like making that story anything interesting because they still didn't cover how the heck they made up for the lost maps and the lost
The
drawings
guy
in the
that
last
was
one.
left in the snow or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I'm certain we'll get there. I'm okay with taking some time a bit because I do really enjoy the setting that I'm willing to just go, yeah, let's establish Hokkaido and go over that for a bit before we try to go nuts on this adventure. I'm okay with it right now. But
I do like how quick Sugimoto is to try and get himself out of situations without violence. He's like, yeah, I was hunting deer, forbidden deer with my guide. That's who the girl is, and yeah, no, that makes sense. Buys it instantly. But one of the guys is like, wait a second, no, you're that guy. And so, by the way, I guess that other guy died. The guy who fell into the river. Because I think they say that his last words were immortal.
Oh yeah, no, I think you're right.
was it the thief that died, or was it the other guy?
No,
'Cause
not
he was fighting.
No, the guy who fell into the river, not the guy who fell into the river.
Oh,
with him.
yeah, uh-huh.
The guy who hit his head and then they recovered
yeah.
later, who had hypothermia.
Yeah. Now this show it's fun. It's really engaging, and I rarely find myself like listing off with it going on. I'm always like, yeah, what's gonna happen? I'm in. And the ending, by the way, when this guy is just going to town on this girl, and this samurai dude shows up, and for like 2 frames, he chucks that girl. Did you catch it? Like, I paused it, and you just see her flying. She's just gone in like 2 frames. He throws her through the doors. I couldn't stop laughing. Like, okay, fine. That's who this guy is? Sure.
Yep. Pretty sure we saw this guy in Ninja Scroll.
Yeah.
But yeah, this show's pretty all right. I don't think it's the best on this list, but I'm enjoying it.
I hope the story picks up. Like, I really do, because honestly, these villains.
Yeah, they're kind of only okay.
Yeah, but yeah, it's cool. I don't like the villains, but I love our main characters and I love their interactions and I love that stupid wolf. Like I love how Asurpa is have this really big dramatic scene, and then we cut back to Asurpa who's rubbing his belly, and like, you like that? You like that? You do.
That was good.
Yeah. It's great. It's really fun. I hope it picks up soon, but I'm still enjoying it right now.
Guys, let's talk about whether we are still enjoying Megalobox. In episode 3, Pops and Joe go to a junk shop to find new gear for his first official match. There, they meet a group of street kiddos who steal hardware and sell it to the shop for drugs. The kids steal a prototype gear for Joe, but one of the kids is caught and roughed up by the shop's security guard. Joe tries to rescue him, but the prototype gear breaks apart. So Joe finishes the fight without any gear at all. And then, if my thing will cooperate, in episode 4, Joe goes into his fight with the shark with no gear, billing himself as Gearless Joe. He takes a punch in the first round and goes down for an 8 count. After that, he is sluggish with fear and barely fights back. Kiddo gives him and Pops a speech about how much they suck, and then Pops gives Joe a speech about fear, and Joe goes back into the ring and wins. He wins his next 2 fights in a montage, and Pops lines up a 4th fight against the 17th ranked Megalobox fighter, a former student of Pops's. I feel like this is another one where the story is pretty basic. Mm-hmm. It is every sports story about somebody who rises up the ranks with pluck and determination, but by God, it is so fucking stylish that I would forgive it a lot.
One of the gold stars I can give to this series is that it introduces an orphan character who I love.
Oh, right. I usually hate that character.
Yeah, no, this character had every right to be the worst, and instead he's actually kind of great.
I kind of still don't like him.
Oh, interesting.
He's fine.
No, I love the fact that he's a little more mature for his age. He's still a kid, but one of the things he does is that he sees what a lot of the seasoned veteran can't see because he's too caught up in his own stuff. He's too caught up in his own idea of how Joe should be acting. And he's like, dude, he's freaked out. And then Grimes is like, oh shit, yeah. Okay, look, listen, kid, sit down. And it's this great scene, especially when he calls him out in front of everybody. It's such a, I don't know, I like this kid. I thought I was going to hate him. Like the moment they introduced the orphans, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, maybe they're just one off. Then he sticks around. I'm like, okay, I guess he's joining them. But no, I like it. I think he's cool. I think he's a cool little kid.
I don't think this is a show that, like, style is carrying it per se, but by God, everything good about it is just magnified that much more because of how rough, sketchy, and energetic and kinetic everything is. And the fights are so good. It's like the animation is top-notch. Soundtrack continues to be incredible. Like, everything about this just exudes its identity and its attitude, and you know exactly what you're getting into. And it's the scrappy underdog, and the fact that he doesn't even have the gear, like when he was like, yeah, I'm Gearless Joe. Like, yes! That is so good. That is prime underdog material. Like, I love this.
I like how Pops is like, no, my kid's good. My kid is good enough to get in a ring and not get hit not get hit long enough to where his punches can take down one of these guys. Mm-hmm. And it's good. It's good. I'm glad to see, like, no, you don't understand how good this kid is, but there is a ceiling. Mm-hmm. And I'm so excited because the next prospective fight is against Gramps' old student, and I'm like, oh shit.
Which again is just one of those story beats that's just expected. That's the kind of show this is. And if it were, I don't know that the style is carrying it, but it's not carrying it in the sense that this would be bad without the style. But without the style, this would just be boilerplate. Mm-hmm. And I'd kind of be bored because I've seen this story before.
Although the previous student, that's something I've seen in martial arts stuff before. I haven't seen that a whole lot of like sports stuff, boxing stuff. I don't know if that is, like, then again, I have not watched a lot of boxing stuff. This isn't my genre usually. Mm-hmm. Not because I don't think I'd like it, but because I just never got into it. Yeah. So as I'm watching this, I'm like, yeah, this is good stuff. And oh man, he's really struggling. And man, the visualization of fear during that fight is so well done where he starts to sink through the floor. He's punch drunk and he's freaked out. And when we see that old student, I'm like, oh shit, that's cool. Now he's gonna go up against the guy Pop's trained before, and I'm like, that's so nuts. And I don't know, I thought it was great.
Everything about it is just for your young seinen, old shonen, like 18 and up, crazy shit. It's great.
I will say I like that they are very specific about making it a plot point that in order to repay this loan to Fujimaki, he only has to get into the top 4.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to win. Because here's one of the many reasons why episode 1 sucked ass. Everybody says, but the pod race is cool. No, it's not. Because they bet everything on that fucking pod race to where the outcome is never in question for a second. So I'm just bored through the whole thing. Here, I doubt he's got to make it to Yuri, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But he could lose, and it could still be a satisfying story. It's not like he's going to get killed by the mob if he loses this final fight. It's there for pride.
Yeah, exactly.
And the outcome could be he could win because he believed in himself, or he could lose and learn a lesson about pride or something. I don't know. It's nice having some tension about how it will end.
Yeah. Like this is hitting all the. I'll keep talking about it until everyone on the planet's seen it. It's just like Kaiji, and that's why I'm excited. Cause yeah, right. It's totally just like Kaiji, man.
Hold on.
It's great.
The best.
Yeah, the best.
Also, I love that Kitaro's in episode 3.
Oh yeah.
One of the orphans, his character design looks very similar to a certain sandal-wearing young boy.
Yep.
By the way, I love Sandal Jack. I don't know if I ever told you, but that was like
Yeah.
one of the best nicknames you've ever come up with.
It's probably the best thing to come of that whole show.
It's why I continue to call him that, even though I know his name. It's not that I have a problem keeping track of it.
So yeah, Megalobox. Fantastic art and animation. I love the music. As a guy who's not that familiar with the whole boxing story, like I've seen Rocky.
Yeah.
I've seen some of those movies, so it's not that outside for me. But as a guy who's still kind of more relatively new, this doesn't seem all that tread for me. So a lot of this stuff is really great. And I love these characters. Like, I didn't like Pops at first.
Yeah.
But Joe grew on me. He keeps growing on me. He's also kind of super hot, so I'm into that. Pops, meanwhile, has grown on me tremendously.
Yeah.
I did not like him at first. I actually actively disliked him.
Well, you see him in that first episode, and I thought that maybe, because he's setting up, he's like buttering Joe up, like, oh yeah, you're too strong for this, but it's just how the world is. And you can tell he doesn't really believe in it. He's just calling him partner when he's actually kind of taking advantage of him. And it's been cool seeing them have more of a relationship. Like, I don't get the sense that he's ever really trained Joe before. He's just good enough to make it on his own talent up until this point.
Yeah, like I'll do the matchmaking. I know you're good. Let me just make sure we both come out even.
I think he has trained him before. I think they have the equipment. I think they've done the training and they've run and like. I wish they'd have shown more of it. I think they have trained. I just don't think he's ever trained him to the fullest extent that he could because he just never believed that he'd be able to break out of what he was. And moreover, when he says these episodes are episode 2 and on have colored my perspective on the original characterization of Pops, which was, no, you're gonna do this. You're gonna do this, kid, and that's just the way the world is. No, I think he believed that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. At first, I thought, no, you're just taking advantage of the kid, and he could do better. No, actually, I think, no, kid, trust me. Like, you think you can do better, but you're just going to get beat down. You're going to be back where you were, and you're going to be worse off because of it. Just know your place. And I'm like, and that's great. I'm glad to know that Pops as a character is definitely beyond just that. So...
I'm not sure how I feel about the whole gearless development. Like, on the one hand, that is another expected beat of these kind of stories. Like, all you have to do is believe in the punching that's in your heart. On the other hand, you wouldn't try to race stock cars without a car. Like, I don't know. It's a little bit of a stretch.
I think the big thing to remember here is that Megaloboxing does not protect the people. at all.
Yeah, that them getting hit is still just as hard as it is if you do it right.
I don't know. The first episode, we see him guard and it slides on his arm on that guard plate. And the moment they said that he was going in frameless or whatever the hell it is, I was like, his arm's going to break in two whenever he does that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, when he gets hit, he goes flying. And so, yeah, it protects the arms. But, and while that's vital,
Which kind of just, like, raises further questions. Like, wait a minute. So if there's no protection, if you're taking these super powered punches, but you're still just a normal dude, why doesn't everybody's skull shatter the first punch every time?
Yeah.
Like, how is this a safe sport? Like, boxing already is fucking brutal. These people are visiting terrible violence upon each other in the service of this sport. To take that and up the destructive power of the punches without adding any more protection? How does any of this make sense?
Oh, yeah.
And I don't want to think too hard about that because I'm enjoying this so much, but it's kind of hard not to sometimes.
No, I agree. Actually, that's one of my biggest sticking points with this show is that it introduces this really cool concept, but does not do anything to address its obvious its obvious drawbacks. It's like, yeah, no, cool, awesome. They're basically rock'em sock'em robots, but humans with metal or mechanical arms and stuff. That's really cool. Yeah, but after one hit, you'd go down no matter what. Like, I've seen people who have gone down after one hit in normal boxing matches. Like, a good hit to the jaw, and you're knocked out. How in the world are any of these people not dying?
Anime.
Anime, yes. As Tyler said, anime. And that's why kind of got to ignore it and just take it as it is.
By the way, have any of you seen Redline?
Yeah.
Okay, the dynamic between Pops and Joe really reminds me of JP and Frisk.
Yeah,
I
totally.
think is his name.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I was even thinking about Redline when I was watching it because I get so many vibes of that with this show.
By the way, anybody in our audience, if you haven't seen the movie Redline and you like anime, or even if you just know what anime is,
Yeah.
watch Redline.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
It's so good.
So good.
It's incredible.
Have you seen Redline?
I have not.
Ben.
We got to
Ben.
fix that.
Ben.
Ben, Place for the Universe was a Madhouse original. Redline is a Madhouse original.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, are there bad Madhouse originals? Anyway, point being.
I'm not naming any.
So yeah, no, but this, yeah, you have to kind of ignore some things. You kind of have to accept that. Yeah, that doesn't actually add up a whole lot if you think about the safety of it and the actual reality of the
Have you
situation.
seen where they
but-
live? It's also the future. Maybe
is-
there's no government. Who cares? Fuck it, dude. It's robot boxing. I want to see people punch things. Hey, fights without no robots because it's all about your shonen goddamn spirit. Hell yeah.
Trust me, I have loved Ashita no JoJo's Gale's Adventure.
Yes, thank you.
But I will say, I'm looking forward to him getting some gear on, and I'm also looking forward to him biting Pops' old protege. I am all about that. I'm excited. It's good stuff, and thank you, Megalobox, for just being exactly what I wanted you to be.
I am curious to see Eggplant, by the way. That's a triple fuck, because what did you expect? I am curious to see how far he goes with no gear, because if he goes all the way up to Yuri and he is still Gearless Joe, I will kind of be sitting here like, wait, what?
No, they already said that he's getting gear after his third match.
Yeah,
I can't wait till he gets gear, and it's the gear that chooses him, and it talks, but only he can hear.
God damn it.
But that's the thing. Like in the third episode, they did such a great job of setting up this expectation. Like, oh, this is the prototype. This is how he'll be able to take on the champ toe to toe because this is the same tech he's using. That he. Oh no, that shit falls apart in the first fight.
Yep.
Like that's great. I don't know how you go from that to. Okay, but no, for serious this time, though, here is the special gear that only you can use, that yada, yada, yada. Like, I think that's a tough pivot. I hope it does it well.
Yeah. I did like that that bait and switch of like, nope, it's actually bullshit.
Yeah.
He was just selling bullshit gear.
Yep, like, hey, guess what? If this prototype was all that great, they'd still be using it instead of throwing it in the trash where some street kids can find it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I kind of like the idea that, I don't know if you guys have read Air Gear, but it's like a gear that can be used for anybody, but they have to have a tuner.
Yeah.
Like maybe that gear was perfect, but it wasn't tuned to him.
Yeah,
so it
yeah.
just fell apart because it was.
This one's made
trash.
for your arms, kid.
Also, it's got the spirit of my dead wife in it. so,
Exactly. I put everything into this one.
yep, especially my wife.
Yes.
When Rodney Dangerfield says, "Take my wife, please," I'm actually saying that to you, Joe. Please take my wife and punch that man with her.
And they jumped into Ava Unit 1, and Roddy Dangerfield was Gendo Ikari.
Yep.
Okay.
Also,
Get
can't
in
wait
the
for the
robot.
live action version of this.
What was that?
I can't wait for the live action version of this.
Ooh, okay. I can see
Actually,
that.
God, it would work really well as a live action film.
That'd be pretty fun.
And it, would- you know, it's the prequel to Real Steel, so
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Oh, man, cameo. We'll get a cameo. Who's going to show up? It's going to be good.
Yep, it's going to be all CGI, Hugh Jackman looking 20 years younger. It's going to be just right in that uncanny valley, just
Yeah.
looking fucked up.
That'll be great.
Yep. Well, tune in next time when we watch that and only 8 other shows? Yeah. Because
Yeah.
guess what's
Yes.
dead? Guess what's a ghost living in the ghost forest?
Ah!
later, Gegege No Kitaro. I really liked your opening, and your ending was cool too.
Yep.
I fell asleep.
Oh my God, I almost did, dude. No, you have no idea. Some shows I can tell if I really don't like it because I get on my phone halfway through and just pause the episode. It took me an hour to watch these 2 episodes because I was just so bored. I even, okay, I'm going to tip my hand here. I skipped the later half of that second episode because I'm like, he took it, it's going to chase him around, he's going to give it back, and it's going to be okay. That is exactly what happened.
It's for 8-year-olds.
It is for 8-year-olds. It's
And
for-
that's fine if you're 8 years old.
yes.
And in
and,
Japan.
and you care about Japanese yokai. That's
and
also,
you're in Japan.
That's the thing. Episode 4 is fine for 8 years old. Those first 3 episodes where the plot makes no goddamn sense and stuff just happens, I would say that is bad for kids. It's not teaching them any lesson. It's not educating them or expanding their minds. It's just a distraction.
And Mana is not a bad character in terms of what she is or who she is, but she is a bad character in terms of what she is. She was just there to be the audience proxy. That's all, and I hated it. It's gone now, though.
Yep.
Yep, and we're gone right now. See you next week.